Good morning, one and all. This is Dr. Balaji Singh. Today's topic is head injuries, scalp injuries, concussion, diffuse axonal injury, and EDH. Courtesy to the Dr. Gautam Biswas, Dr. Christian Bridge, and Knight's Forensic Pathology. Today's topic: classification of brain injuries, scalp injuries, hoop and country hoop injuries, concussion, and diffuse axonal injury, extradural hemorrhage, and subdural hemorrhage. This is a gross classification of head injuries. Head injuries are classified into local deformation, general deformation. Head is a hard structure which contains a solid curd-like brain. Brain is not a fixed organ, it is liable to move. But unfortunately, blood vessels are crossing from the skull and meninges to the brain. Whenever the brain shakes and moves, the blood vessels get stretched and may prone for tear and may get destruction. Bleeding. By local impact, the skull and meninges will get local deformity, whereas by compression, the head may get general deformation. And one more thing we have to consider, the head is a static, that means fixed or well supported or well in movement. For example, in vehicular accident, a person is traveling in a car, the head is in constant motion. Unfortunately, if you met a accident, the sudden deceleration, that means sudden stoppage of the vehicle, the person will move forwards. The skull stuck to the windshield or front seat. But the brain is continue to move and internally it will get contused either frontal lobe or occipital lobe. This is about momentary damage to the brain. That's why a simple example, if you are loosely packing any material in a box, the contents in the box will get prone for damage. Same thing, the brain is loosely packed package in a skull box. The brain injury is either primarily due to primary impact. These are the immediately of directly related to the impact, either concussion or diffuse axonal injury or cortical contusions or lacerations or bone fragmentation, brainstem concussion. Intracranial hematoma, these are secondary. As a result, the secondary effects due to head injury because of raised intracranial tension, cerebral edema, infections, ischemia, epilepsy, hypoxemia, metabolic endocrine disturbances. Skull is a localized compartment. Localized compartment, hence the blood will try to accumulate in the limited compartment. The blood is not going to leak outside the skull, hence it will cause a pressure effect over the brain. Right, correct? Secondary effects due to accumulation of blood. Blood will act as a space occupying lesion like a tumor. Blood is not readily absorbable or neither reversely going into the blood vessels. So that's why it is causing some local pressure effects over the brain. It leads to cerebral edema. Unfortunately, any scalp injuries or skull injuries or open injuries or communicating with the open air may cause cerebral infections, ischemia. For example, blood is leaking at a particular place. A distal areas supplied by the same blood vessel are prone for ischemia. Epilepsy, because of irritation, brain may get prone for epilepsy. Hypoxemia, same. Blood insufficiency may cause hypoxemia. Metabolic or endocrine disturbances due to pressure over the brainstem and vital centers and endocrinal system. Severity of the brain will be classified into what is the condition of LOC, that is loss of consciousness, either 30 minutes or more than 30 minutes or more than 24 hours, and the condition of post traumatic amnesia, that is 1 day or 7 days or more than 7 days. And Glasgow Coma scale also will give a rough idea about severity of the brain injury. Scalp layers. Forensic anatomy. There is a skin, connective tissue, galea penuritica, loose up areolar tissue, and periosteum is necessary to understand the blood collection among these layers. This is the loose areolar tissue. Loose areolar tissue. This is periosteum. Galea aponeurotica is white sheet. Scalp injuries are scalp abrasion, scalp laceration, avulsion, scalp contusion, and incised wound of the scalp. Scalp contusion is a localized contusion. It is superficial to the galea aponeurotica. So the blood is not going to tend to spread. It is localized collection. If the blood is, this is the loose areolar tissue, the scalp is cleaved and separated from pericranium. This is pericranium is here. We are separating the scalp layers in the plane of loose areolar tissue. The blood is superficial to the galea aponeurotica. That's why it is localized. Laceration of the scalp, laceration of the margins are irregular. It bleeds profusely. Is figure of 8 sutures is required to close the scalp lacerations, and avulsions also may possible. For example, a tuft of hair is trapped in any machinery, then it will cause avulsion of the scalp, cause severe pain, severe bleeding, may prone for hypovolemic shock and death. There's an incised looking lacerations over the scalp. This is split type of laceration. Skin and subcutaneous tissue is getting crushed in between two hard objects. One is skull and another is blunt weapon. Incised wound over the scalp. Incised wound. Incised wound is a clean cut margins. Here bleeding is less because it is during autopsy it is washed out. Otherwise the bleeding is also more even in scalp incisions. They are the same layers of the scalp incision. This is the emissary veins. It's communicating the scalp with the dural sinuses. The importance of emissary means any infection of the scalp will cause infection of the brain through the emissary veins. This is communicating between the scalp and the dural sinuses. Coming to the next concept of coup and contre coup, impact and damage. Where is the impact and where is the damage. Frontal lobes are more commonly involved in contricoup injuries in falls on occipital lobes due to irregular base of the anterior cranial fossa. The roof of the orbits are irregular. Contricoup injuries means that the injury is located under the area of the impact, that is coup injury. Whereas contricoup, the damage is exactly opposite to the impact. Impact here, but in contricoup, damage is exactly opposite of the impact. Due to local distortion of the skull, the theories causing contricoup injuries, that is shear strains. Shear strains means is steering forces. The vacuum is created here and blood vessels are so stretched. So that's why it's leading some blood in the opposite side. There the blood in the frontal lobe. Rotatory movements will cause shear strains. Some other mechanisms and theories are there to explain how the contricoup will occur. Sudden deceleration will cause some wave transformation. Striking of the head on the ground during fall and road traffic accidents will cause transfer of the impact, causing damage on the opposite side. Skull deformation theory, otherwise called stuck hoop action, hoop and contricoup. This is common in younger age where the skull is more elastic. Skull deformation is possible only in younger group. Pressure gradient or vacuum theory. Vacuum is created on the opposite side. The vacuum is sucking the blood vessels and stretching the blood vessels. Brain displacement theory. Brain is displaced by rotational shear forces. Other theories of contricoup are bony irregularities. You can observe the base of the anterior cranial fossa is irregular, and ethmoid plate, cribriform plate of ethmoid, everything is irregular. Hence, a blood is formed at the base of the frontal lobe. Transmitting wave theory. This is this transmitting wave to the opposite wave, causing damage on the opposite wave. Contricoup, skull deformation, stuck hoop theories, pressure gradient theory, rotational shear theory, and irregular bony base theory are the important for examination point. Coming to the next topic, that is concussion. Concussion of the head. A popular dialogue. A hero says that if I blow out your neck, your mind will block. You will see some stars. This is only because of concussion. A sudden loss of memory, consciousness, transient period. It is called concussion. Concussion in Latin, concutere, is to shake. Physiological disruption of the brain function as a result of traumatic event, which is manifested by loss of memory or focal neurological deficit, but it is transient. Concussion is a functional injury to the brain, no much anatomical disruption. Just like, for example, I can say in software technology, if you are giving a rapid and confusing instructions to your computer, the laptop or computer will get jammed, that is hang out. Just like same thing, our brain also is just like a software or computer. If you are giving a shaky movements, it is cause hanging out or corrupted computer like brain, so it will get amnesia, but it is temporary. Recovery is mandatory. Followed by amnesia. The person is not able to recollect the events, what happened few seconds just before the incident and few minutes after. I want to give you a classical example of concussion. One of my patient has suffered with a bike accident. On history, he is narrating that while traveling on a road at a speed of 60 to 80 kilometers on a bike, suddenly he got uh, buffaloes are crossing the road. That much he remembered. What happened next to the event, he is not able to recollect. Unfortunately, by hitting the buffaloes, he fell down over the right side in a um, um, trench. In trench, his own vehicle's silencer has fallen on his thigh. He sustained severe burn injuries. Even after sustaining burn injuries, he doesn't recollected memory. Somebody has rescued after a few minutes and he sustained burn injuries. After inquiry, he is asking that he nothing he is having his memory. He is what he is saying. I can remember the buffaloes are crossing the road. That's all. What happened to the next to the event? He is not able to recollect before the event and after the event. That is retrograde and anterograde amnesia. Even after recovery, he person behaves automatically, neither rationally nor responsibly. Automatism. Concussion is most common in contact sports, either rugby or wrestling or boxing or football. Concussion is because of severe, sudden, shaky movements of the brain in football. The coup or country coup injuries may happen, but no anatomical disruption. He may return to the sports even after 15 minutes, or even after a week, or even after 2 weeks, according to the severity of the concussion. But there is may not be permanent damage. Signs and symptoms: unconsciousness, bradycardia of the heart, hypotension, and sweating, and is always followed by retrograde or antegrade amnesia, temporary lethargy, irritability, and cognitive dysfunction. Flaccid muscles, pupils are dilated and unreacting. Pulse is weak and slow, and respiration is shallow. Post concussion syndrome. If he is returning to the work without proper rest, he may suffer with all these symptoms: headache, nausea, confusion, lack of concentration, irritability, getting your bells ring, dizziness, concussion. These are the post concussion syndrome. Concussion grading, basing on either he lost the consciousness or not, but how rapidly he recovered from the symptoms, either 15 minutes or more than 15 minutes or more than few days. Any history of LOC, that is loss of consciousness, um, transient. No history of loss of consciousness in grade 2, but history of loss of consciousness in grade 3 is present. The concussion symptoms are most of the time it is really confused with the drunkenness. But here the breath smells alcohol, and other features will discriminate either he is concussed or drunkard. Penalty to the sportsman: chronic traumatic encephalopathy syndrome, otherwise called punch drunk syndrome. Cerebral contusions. These are the deterioration of speed and reflexes in coordination, along with the personality change, instability. All these features will seen in old age. A popular case is Muhammad Ali. He is a popular boxer. He suffered with punch drunk syndrome, dementia pugilistica. Pugilistic means boxers. Intention tremors may be seen. Autopsy findings: Some patients may show chronic subdural hematoma, attenuation of corpus callosum, diffuse axonal injury, and cortical atrophy may be seen. पास में रखो. Diffuse axonal injury. Sometimes the damage to the brain may not be localized. It will be diffuse damage at the level of axons. It is a next level to the concussion. Concussion also generalized damage to the brain. Whereas if the concussion is progressive, it will cause diffuse axonal injury. Macroscopically, there may not be any damage to the brain or any blood collection, but the brain may be dead. In such conditions, the better explained by the diffuse axonal injury. By definition, is a condition representing a spectrum of severity in which the victim is unconscious from the time of injury and then either remains in a coma or enters a persistent vegetative state. This is the mechanism of the diffuse axonal injury. Axons are getting sheared. Shear strains causing some damage to the axons all over the brain, especially at the corticomedullary junction and junction of gray and white matters because of general deformity or general impact to the head. Concussion leads to diffuse axonal injury. Death may occur without the patient is regaining consciousness or he may recover partially and then die suddenly. The victim may exhibit automatism. The schematic representation of diffuse axonal injury: shear strains, axonal shearing at the junction of gray matter and white matter all over the two cerebral hemispheres is called diffuse axonal injury. It's grading basing on axonal injury and hemorrhages in corpus callosum and hemorrhage in upper brainstem. If it is present in all the three, it is grade 3. Diffuse axonal injury. You can rostral brainstem and corpus callosum, petechial hemorrhages in the corpus callosum and hemispheric white matter, shearing injury in white matter. Either due to missile or non-missile, that is blunt force, may cause diffuse axonal injury. May lead to long-term disability. Diffuse axonal injury, shear injuries because of stretching and twisting or tension forces will cause shear strains. CT scan findings: petechial hemorrhages in the corpus callosum, cerebellar peduncle and evidence of the diffuse injury to the axons. MRI findings you will see in the next slide. These are the MRI findings of the diffuse axonal injury. Some petechial hemorrhages, opacities, these are the hemorrhages, diffuse all over the brain. Diffuse axonal injury in CT, follow up 24 hours. Some features may be seen only after 24 hours. Subarachnoid hemorrhage may be associated in diffuse axonal injury. This is subarachnoid space, hemorrhage, radio opaque area. Internal capsule, corpus callosum, and superior cerebellar peduncles may seen some petechial hemorrhages. Microglial accumulates, debris laden macrophages. They are the histologically you can see the diffuse axonal injury. Axonal spheroids, axonal spheroids or retraction balls are seen histologically. These are eosinophilic pink swellings of the axons, axonal endings. Autopsy findings: rostral brainstem, rostral, dorsolateral part of the rostral brainstem. This is a brainstem, yellow one. Impact will be seen something. Focal lesions will be seen over the dorsolateral areas of the rostral part of the brainstem, that is front part. Corpus callosum having some hemorrhages. Corpus callosum, hemorrhages, petechial hemorrhages. This is the corpus callosum showing some petechial hemorrhages. Basal ganglia showing some hemorrhages. This is gliding contusions seen in DAI. Corpus callosum, petechial hemorrhages. Cognitive dysfunction because of movements. Effects of diffuse traumatic brain injury on a brain cell. Coming to the next topic, intracranial hemorrhages. In this class, we are narrating only about extradural hemorrhage. In subsequent classes, we will discuss other three varieties, that is subdural hematoma, subarachnoid hematoma, and intracranial hemorrhage, intracerebral hemorrhage. Intracranial hemorrhages: EDH, SDH, SAH, and ICH. Intraaxial hemorrhage in the axis, in the center line. Intraparenchymal, intraventricular. Extraaxial, that is EDH, SDH, and SAH. Extradural hemorrhage: collection of blood in a space between the dura and skull, mostly because of trauma. This is a dura mater, white one. This is a skull. Demonstration at the time of autopsy. A localized collection of the extradural hematoma. Extradural hematoma is a lens-like biconvex blood collection. White one is the dura mater, tough dura mater. The blood is collected between skull and the dura mater. Pia mater, this is the brain. Red one is pia mater. This is the subarachnoid space. The red one is the pink one is arachnoid matter, and the violet color is dura mater. So skull and skull. Dura is stripped. We can beautifully see a localized collection of dark hematoma. This white one is the dura mater. EDH and subdural hematoma. EDH, white dura mater. Usually 200 ml of blood collection is required to cause pressure effects and coma and death. Meningeal artery, middle meningeal artery, anterior and posterior. This is the middle meningeal artery. Branches are most common to prone for injury and blood collection. Bleeding may occur due to fall from height or road traffic accidents. The arteries are passing in between the endocrinium and the dura in the grooves of the endocrinium. Meningeal arteries are passing in the grooves of the skull. Whenever the skull fractured, there is a tendency to damage the arteries also. Simultaneously, there may be bleed. Extradural space is a potential space. Whenever the arterial blood is leaking under pressure, the blood is stripping the dura from the endocrinium. That's why the blood is collected localized. It is not spreading rapidly all over the hemisphere or skull because the dura is firmly attached to the endocrinium. Localized collection of the blood superior or external to the dura mater. The arterial supply of the dura. Most common sites are temporoparietal region, either in accidents or assaults. Anterior and posterior branches of the middle meningeal artery is the most one. Either meningeal veins also prone for damage. Meningeal arteries, the bones. The less commonly posterior meningeal artery, anterior meningeal artery, or its branches or sagittal sinus may also involve. Signs of EDH, because of pressure effects or irritation to the meninges, he may get head pain, headache, dizziness, dilatation of the pupil if it is large enough, causing compression of the third nerve, deteriorating consciousness, neck rigidity because of meningism, meningeal irritation, depression of pulse or respiration, convulsions may seen if it is rapid collection of massive hematoma, life threatening because of compression over the brainstem. Come here, there is a concept of lucid interval. Lucid means clear. I have heard some Christians having names Lucia. Same, that is clear. A clear. What is lucid interval? Interval means in between two. What is in between two? Is a clear period in between two bouts of episodes of unconsciousness. That is lucid interval. How the initial loss of consciousness because of concussion. Concussion is relieved after some time. The second episode of unconsciousness is due to slowly evolving EDH. The blood is slowly accumulating in extradural space, so it needs some time. If it is the arterial blood, it will take some time, but it is the venous blood, it will take more and more time. So that's why lucid interval may be few days to few weeks. For example, immediately after sustaining some head injury, the person will go into sudden unconsciousness. That is because of concussion. After one day, he will regain the consciousness. He will be clear for 1 or 2 weeks or 1 or 2 days. After that period, again because of extradural hemorrhage, he will go into state of unconsciousness. That is called lucid interval. It is a classical picture in extradural hemorrhage and subdural hemorrhage. Some other symptoms of extradural hemorrhage: severe headache, loss of consciousness, severe neurological deficit, altered sensorium. He may prone for seizures, usually the neck stiffness and rigidity after cerebellar tonsillar herniation. Radiologically, the EDH is seen as a biconvex, just like a citrus fruit, whereas a subdural hematoma is seen as a banana shape in CT brain. Biconvex lens shape hematoma, that is EDH. It is limited by suture line. Why? Because at these sutures the dura is firmly fixed. The blood is not going to tear, split, or strip from the skull. That's why the EDH is limited to the suture line. This is the pressure effects of the hippocampal herniation or cerebellar tonsillar herniation and subfalcian herniation. All these herniations may be seen because of pressure effects. Raised ICT, intracranial tension, coning of supratentorial contents, Kernohan's notch sign. This is a Kernohan notch. The supratentorial contents are get stretched on the opposite side, produce some notch. This is EDH and this is subdural hematoma. Just go through the table, the same repetition, EDH and SDH, EDH and SDH. Complications: cerebral edema, meningism, post-traumatic amnesia, post-traumatic epilepsy. If you are not removing in time, the brain stem edema may cause persistent coma and death because of failure of vital centers. Cerebral edema is due to effects of cerebral edema. Medical legal aspects of EDH. Most of the time it is traumatic. A spontaneous rupture is very, very rare, but may happen. Prognosis is good if it is surgically removed, but in lucid interval there may be confusion of recovery. He may be discharged. The doctor is prone for medical negligence. If you are not instructing properly during lucid interval, the doctor can get a charges of medical negligence. The condition of EDH or SDH or any concussion resemble drunkenness. They may be attracted by the police, they may be captured, but unfortunately if he is dying, it amounts to custodial death. So many factors are influencing the causing coma because of EDH. So that's why these so many factors may influence the time lapse after accident. Non-traumatic, spontaneous EDH may be because of these are the pathological conditions: sickle cell anemia, coagulopathies, infections, vascular abnormalities, metastasis, and chronic kidney disease. Differentiation. These are the differentiating points between EDH and subdural hemorrhage. We will discuss after completion of subdural hematoma. Autopsy findings: a localized collection over dura mater underneath the skull. Confusion factor is by heat hematoma. This is a dark brown hematoma because of heat rupture or heat hematoma. Should not confused with antepartum extradural hematoma. Important points to discuss in examination point of view: lucid interval may be asked as a 2-mark question. Concussion, extradural hemorrhage, diffuse axonal injury, coop and counter-coop injuries may be asked as a 4-mark questions. Otherwise, a essay can be asked as a classify head injuries, what are the types of skull fractures and what are the types of intracranial hemorrhage, describe in detail about extradural hemorrhage. Thank you.